I'm Fletcher Roden, and this is Tracking the Lone Wolf, based on my new book, Tracking the Lone Wolf, the Sigma, at work, at home, and at play. Today on Tracking the Lone Wolf, Tony Soprano. Tracking the Lone Wolf is a twice-monthly show with lots of interesting information for just about everybody, so I suggest you like this video and subscribe to the channel. The book is available in paperback and for Kindle, and in audiobook format at Audible and other platforms. I am a public speaker, and you can visit the website trackingthelonewolf.com for more information. Tony Soprano, the popular central character of the sprawling HBO series The Sopranos, is largely considered to be one of television's great anti-heroes, along with other characters which he inspired, such as Walter White from Breaking Bad. Now, I would contest that neither one of these characters are truly anti-heroes. We've discussed the nature of the heroes here on the show, and there are roughly four of them. If you look at the work of Joseph Campbell, there is the willing hero, the unwilling hero, the existential hero, and the anti-hero. The willing hero has heroic impulses. He does the right thing for the right reason. The unwilling hero has no heroic impulses, but they'll do the right thing for the right reason, but against their truer nature. It's the truer nature of the willing hero to quest, but it's not in the true nature of the unwilling hero to quest. The existential hero quests spiritually for the solution to the existential questions of identity. And the anti-hero does the right thing despite the compulsion to do the wrong thing. The anti-hero has none of the heroic impulses of either the willing or the unwilling hero, and only fights the existential fight when it becomes necessary. He's like the unwilling hero version of the existential hero. The anti-hero is only a hero despite their worst inclinations. They do the right thing for the right reason despite the compulsion to do otherwise. Richard Blaine from Casablanca is the great anti-hero. Just to go backward, let's say Big Bird on Sesame Street is the great existential hero, and Bilbo Baggins is the great unwilling hero, and Batman is a great example of the willing hero, or Hercules, too. So, the unwilling hero does the right thing despite the compulsion to do the wrong thing. The reason Tony Soprano is not an anti-hero is because he does not do the right thing despite the compulsion to do the wrong thing. He has the compulsion, actually, to do the right thing, but cannot. He wants to be a better person, but cannot evolve to be a better person. He wants to say a salud to the happy wanderer, but in the end, he cannot resist his antisocial compunction. So, not an anti-hero, not a willing hero, not an unwilling hero. If anything, of the four heroes, I would say that he is a existential hero, if anything. But not really, because the existential hero doesn't lean on physicality the way the willing hero does, and that's what Tony Soprano does. What kind of personality type? Well, definitely an alpha male. He leans on physicality. He is aggressive. He is entitled. He feels entitled to it. He leads by force. He is old-fashioned. He is fiercely protective of the people he loves, but very, very suspicious of those he does not know. He's driven by insecurity. in a variety of ways. He is implacable. He's stubborn. It's his old-fashioned stubbornness that causes his downfall in the end. He because he couldn't make peace with New York, as much as he did try to, but it's complex, and there's only so much time to talk about such a sprawling subject as The Sopranos. But Tony is he's an alpha male, but he suffers with all of the short-sightedness that goes along with that. He does want to evolve like the Sigma could do, but he just cannot. He needs to lead. He needs his pack. He hates to be challenged. Everything about Tony is an alpha male, but not in a good way. Not always in a good way. Look what happens when the alpha male goes home. His children rebel, as they're apt to do. I would say Tony is a sociopath, that he has antisocial personality disorder. Now, in my book, Tracking the Lone Wolf, the Sigma at Work, at Home, and at Play, not only do we look at all of the skill sets that are necessary to get along in any of those three theaters of life, the professional, the familial, or the social, we look at the key psychological concepts. We're looking at disorders. We're looking at personality complexes. Because these are the things that everybody should know. Every young person, every teenager should read this book because they need to know how to tell an anti-hero from an unwilling hero, or an alpha male from a delta, or an alpha from a sigma, or a sigma from a beta. It's key to their people reading skills. People reading skills are key to their emotional intelligence, which is key to their communication skills, which is key to their critical thinking, which is, again, key to their social skills as a whole. We go through all this in the book. And if you read the book, you would know we discuss one disorder, which is actually two disorders in one. It's called antisocial personality disorder. Some people would also call it sociopathy or sociopathy. To have antisocial personality disorder is to be a sociopath. Now, there are a lot of people will be quite loose with their interpretation of what this really means. It's not merely doing things with a disregard for others. It's not merely being a narcissist. In order to have antisocial personality disorder, you must have two coexisting disorders. One is narcissistic personality disorder, which Tony Soprano definitely has, and one is sadistic personality disorder, which Tony also has. So marking him as a sociopath or a sufferer of antisocial personality disorder is really quite simple. The narcissism, he has to lead. He cannot be threatened or challenged. He only has sycophants. He doesn't really have friends. He has acolytes, which is a key to narcissism. A liar, a manipulator, someone for whom all of his existence is based upon a false front. For him, it would be a front of invincibility and power, when he knows, of course, that he's very vulnerable at times. He's disordered because he doesn't recognize either a disordered mind either recognizes a problem and will not change it, or does not recognize it as a problem. And Tony Soprano's narcissism is at the point of a disorder, I would say. despite going to Melfi and trying to pursue the talking cure. Tony Soprano is a man for whom all relationships are transactional, which is very indicative of narcissism. He must always win out in the transaction. Everybody he knows must either be a benefit to him or they are possibly a disadvantage or a hindrance to him. And his affection for them is based on that alone. He has no empathy. He is disordered because he doesn't really want to change these things. He does go to Melfi for help with his panic attacks, but very quickly he ceases to pursue the campaign of self-help and goes on about the campaign of gathering information that he can use later, which is another classic narcissistic trait. He doesn't recognize these traits as drawbacks, though. He sees them as features, not bugs. They're leadership qualities for him, and he doesn't want to change them. He certainly does not try to change them. So that makes him a disordered personality in that way. Narcissistic personality disorder. He also has sadistic personality disorder in so much as he enjoys the pain he inflicts on others. It makes him feel fulfilled. It gives him purpose. It draws upon all of his natural skills and talents. It is the thing for which it is his function. It's his raison d'etre, essentially, is to be an enforcer of his own rule. And this he does with glee. And you can see it in the actor's portrayal of the character in many of his killing scenes. So definitely narcissistic personality disorder and sadistic personality disorder brings us to antisocial personality disorder. This alpha male has a lot of complexes as well, including superiority complex, martyr complex, savior complex. He may even have a strange sort of Oedipal complex. It's hard to say, but it's interesting to think about. He's a complex character, but he's not an anti-hero. Tony Soprano, not a hero, not an anti-hero, an alpha, not a sigma. And, interestingly, he does have some qualities of the gamma, the jokester, and the omega, the jokester and the prankster. But ultimately, what we see here is alpha male, antisocial personality disorder, or sociopath. Okay, that brings us to the end of our study of Tony Soprano. You can read about more of this and a lot of other things in my book, Tracking the Lone Wolf, the Sigma, at work, at home, and at play. That's available in paperback for Kindle and in audiobook format at Audible and other platforms. Visit the website, trackingthelonewolf.com, for more information. This is Fletcher Roden for Tracking the Lone Wolf. Thanks again for watching. Tune in again.